Hey guys, my name is xOctoManx and this is part 12 of my turn-based battle system tutorial. In this part, or in the last part, we were creating two attacks or basic attacks which are inheriting from base attack. We also created base attack and also the slash base attack. In handle turn, we already added a public type of base attack and renamed this one to choose an attack, and we ended up in starting to add stuff into the enemy state machine. So again, I'm sorry for the zoom in. I hope you have seen everything again. If you're not, just pause the video in here, just show them pretty quick once again what we have done. And this slash, so you can create your own your own attacks and stuff. And there's handle turn again. So what we're going to do in this part is we need to ready up the base attack, since we want our enemies to choose randomly from different attacks they can have, and since we want to have later on a lot of prefabs, enemy prefabs, which can hold different attack types, which are always going to inherit from base attack, we have a problem. We need somehow say what kind of attack can this enemy hold. In our enemy state machine, we don't have any access basically from or to that possible attacks. Also, I don't want to go over and do that stuff randomly and populate a list of attacks which can be performed by the enemy, and same for the hero. I want to set them by hand. This one is we can do that in two different maybe we can do it in more different ways, but the problem is we cannot just populate our base enemy or our enemy with an attack, because we are not inheriting anything from mono behavior. And so we have two possibilities. The first one is I'm going to populate the list depending on what the hero is, and going through a switch statement, which is saying, okay, this is the name, or this is the name enemy 2, and this can only hold a specific attack. Or we can create some drag and drop stuff, so we can drag in the skill attacks, whichever they are, into a list. For enemies, it doesn't really matter if it is a spell attack or just a normal melee attack, or a skill attack, because that enemies won't have too much attacks, I believe, and depending on the randomness choosing the attacks, it doesn't really matter if we have several lists. For heroes, it will be a bit more complex, since we need to know what kind of attack he's going to perform, and depending on that, we might want to change the animation stuff. Casting spell, maybe go just a bit in front, then making a particle system or whatever, and then shoot any projectile or anything else. So we want to, create another particle system around the enemy to show, okay, this guy just shot a flame attack. But we won't go into that right now. We just want to make sure that we are able to use the skill attacks or the melee attacks we just created. I'm going to demonstrate this pretty quick, or basically let's just go over and do that. The first thing we want to do is, in our base class of all of our heroes and enemies, we want to create a list. This is going to be a public list. So we say public list, and this list is not accessible when we are not creating the namespace or using the namespace Unity Engine. system.collection.generic. So when we are going to add this one, we are able to use lists. I'm going to show you this one, as you may have seen in other videos too. So there's a list, so we can say we want this list to be of type base attack. So we are, I believe it's going to be this one. Handle turn base attack. Yeah, there it is. So everything stored in here is going to be based, or just any child or the class itself inheriting from that or whatever can be stored in that list. So we need a name for this. I don't know, my attack, or just attacks. I don't know, attacks. Oops. Let me just write this more in here. I want to create a new instance of, or a new list basically, of type base attack, and there we go. Gonna save this one. Now when I go back to Unity, there should be in just a second a new slider, or basically a list. There we go. There's the attack list. This attack list is in the base class. So also the enemies will have that attack list right now in here. So we are able to go into one of our enemies, or basically in all enemies, and create a size of maybe 2 or 20 or whatever you want. The problem with that is we would need to handle all that, or we would need to write in all the same stuff once again into that attacks list, because we are not able, or we shouldn't. Let's go to our melee attacks. I'm not able to drag in the slash attack or hammer attack directly into that list, because we are not inheriting mono behavior. What we can do right now is we are going into our prefabs folder. No, let me just do it a bit different first. We go into our base attack. Let me just give me a second. Yes, we go into our base attack, and we want to inherit from mono behavior. So we say double dash or double dot mono behavior. So we're inheriting all stuff, and only when we are inheriting mono behavior, then we are able to drag in stuff into the inspector of any kind, I believe. I may check this one out by the way, and delete this one once again. What I now want to do is I want to create some kind of a database. Well, nothing program wise, but here object wise. So what I do is I create a new folder. This is going to be all our enemy prefabs. All our skills we can use, or abilities. Let's go and call this one abilities. May want to go into that folder. We can also go and create subfolders like melee. So we know, okay, in that abilities folder there's going to be a melee folder, and in there will all our prefabs be. So what I can do right now is I can create an empty game object and name this one as I want, in my case slash. I can also just rename this to slash ability, so we won't have any problems later on with the names. And what we can do is we can take our script of type melee, and I just can right now drag that skill or that script onto the slash ability prefab. If I am not inheriting mono behavior in base attack, I'm gonna save this and show you just quick, and select the slash ability once again, and I try to drag this one over, you will get a message you cannot add the script slash because we're not inheriting or deriving mono behavior. So again, we need to go over in base attack, add mono behavior once again, so we are able to drag this script slash. Well, that's weird. We should be able to do that. Didn't I save it? Gonna try this once again. We are inheriting base attack. Yeah, there we go. I just didn't save it too fast enough. Okay, now you can see I was able to drag in slash with all its already set stuff inside a prefab. What I can do right now is in the prefabs folder I can go into the abilities melee folder and create a prefab out of this. So I have a slash ability prefab. I can always go in and change everything I want, because those are public variables I could go over and just make them private, so they are not changeable from outside, and just set some getters where I just only be able to read them from outside. But I want to show and demonstrate all that stuff we can do with that. So now we don't actually go over and use anything, so you might want to zero out all that stuff and here apply the changes. And now basically I can just get rid of /ability. So we never ever, for now, go and instantiate that. We just need placeholders we can use to populate our attacks, our attacks list. So let's go to enemy 1 and drag in /ability into /attacks. What you can see, instead of wait a second. Oh, okay, now it's changed. Instead of the need to input any variables, as we may see in here. Well, we don't. It doesn't really matter. Instead of needing to add all informations by hand in there, we have the possibility to drag in all the skills we want with just a prefab and populate the list depending on what attacks those special units or enemies can hold. So let's create another prefab. So we create a new empty game object. And in here we have, what does it called? Hammer swing, I believe. So it's going to be hammer swing ability. Again, this is going to hold only that script of hammer swing. Again, we can change this whenever we want inside that game object or prefab. Go back into prefabs folder, abilities, melee, and then we just drag this one in, and now we have a hammer swing ability. We can go and zero this one out, even if we don't want or need to, but it's better to zero this one out if we may later on go and use that in any way actively. And then we can just get rid of that out of the scene. So we are just using all the prefabs as placeholders basically to get the information how many attack or damage we are going to take, and also what's the name of the attack we are performing, and the description if we need this one later on. Also we can see if this costs any mana or anything else like energy or HP or whatever, and that's it. So again, go to enemy 1 or enemy 2, and we can say enemy 1 can perform hammer swing and /ability or slash, and enemy 2 maybe just only can use hammer swing. It doesn't matter. Same for the heroes. We can go over and populate anything in here, but for the enemies or for the heroes we might to add one more later on. So it might be better when I rename attacks to melee attacks. For the heroes I will add a new some new stuff, I believe. So attacks is going to be for the enemies and for the enemies and for the hero, and the hero also may hold 2 more like skill attacks and mana attacks or magic attacks. So we can have we have the possibility to choose more information later on, or more attacks or magic attacks and all the other things. Okay, so let's get started and do damage, or basically prepare everything to do damage. What we do is, first we start with the enemy state machine. The enemy state machine has the script part choose action, as we have done already and completed. What we want to do is we want to populate our handle turn as we already set up. We want to prepare the chosen attack. So we want the enemy to choose randomly from its attacks he can perform. We just populated those lists. And then paste or basically push the information into chosen attack. We can just do this in the enemy state machine when the enemy is going to choose any attack. And also we go over and create a debug line for the second to see which attack is going to be performed. So how can we do that? What we can do is we take a random at first a random number and take that from let's just test this one. I believe we might change this. Okay, so we want to create a random number or an integer and a number, and this number is going to be random from the list we were just creating. So it will go through all list components. So we say random.range, and we want to start at 0, so at the 0 spot of the list we just created where the attacks are in. And what we want to do is we want to say enemy dot, and in here we have attacks already inside, and we want to say count, so the length of the list. So if the list is going to be don't forget to save that and to end the line. So if the list of the attacks the enemies have, in this case the size is going to be 2, it's going to go through that randomly and choose a number between 0 and 1. So it can perform right now, or can choose the slash ability or the hammer swing randomly, depending on luck, I believe. So the next thing is that number we have we just created needs to be put it in here and populate the handle turn chosen attack, which is this one. So what we can do is we can say my attack, which is the handle turn, or the handle turn itself, dot chosen attack, so we can actually choose that attack, is going to be equal to, and now we can just say enemy dot attacks again is of type base attack, so we paste in base, or we send in a base attack thingy, and what we want to do is in square brackets we say num, the number we just created randomly in here, and then we just do that like this. And also I'm going to add a debug line just to make sure that everything works properly. So we say debug.log. This is going to be a long debug. There are several methods and things we can write in here. So what I want to do is at first I want to know the name of the game object, .name, and then we say plus. So we add some strings in here, and we say has chosen, and then again plus. Then we can say which attack does that guy has chosen. We can just take the chosen attack information in here. So we say my attack dot chosen attack dot, and in here we have again attack codes, damage description, and there's the attack name. So we want to know which name does that guy just took, or that enemy, plus, and performs, and does, or do, and do some damage, of course. So we want to know how many damage is going to be. So again, my attack dot chosen attack dot attack damage plus, and then we just say damage. There we go. So this is just our debug line. So we basically want to output that everything goes right with every turn they are doing. Gonna let this compile. Everything seems to be okay. I'm gonna pause this in just a second, depending when they are done. Oh, there we go. So now, as you can see, the first enemy, which was enemy 2 in the list, has chosen hammer swing and is going to do 15 damage. This is just our debug line, but we are not doing any damage right now. We will go into that in just a second. What we can now go over is we can check our battle state machine or our battle manager, which holds the perform list, and as you can see in the perform list, we can see the chosen attack in enemy 2 is going to be hammer swing ability, which is just a script we have on that prefabs. We just read out automatically. The second one, enemy 1, has chosen the same one. Let's see if we are able to get a slash attack from the second enemy. Again, hammer swing, and there you go. As you can see, enemy 1 has now used slash ability, which is just a slash attack, and has performed 10 damage, which is, yeah, the stuff we have just written in that prefab, basically. Pretty cool, this is going to work. So now we can go and do that particular damage to our hero. Also, we can later on go over and calculate damage. As I have said before, we can use plain damage for these attacks. We can also go over and calculate something in, like if we have a special level in that enemy, of course, then the damage output will be higher than when we just put in the values we just did in. So how can we perform damage? It's basically the same stuff as we just have done in the debug line and here, but we need the connection to the hero we were just attacking, actually. So let's look into that. Sorry, there needed to be a cut, so let's get into it and do actual damage. The first thing is our enemies, where we are just going over and start an enemy state machine again, is we create 2 new functions, or basically for the enemy state machine 1 function, and this is of type void, and we say do damage. So do damage needs to be calculated before, and also we need to pass in the parameter into the hero state machine depending on which hero we are going to attack. So we say hero to attack dot, and in here we can give me a second. We can say get component, so we get the component of type hero state machine. Of course, it's going to be stored in hero to attack because we are already have the reference to this from the movement, and then we can just say dot something. The dot something we are going to do is what we are going to do in just a second. So in our hero state machine, we need to create a new function called or basically of type public void, and this is going to be the take damage function. So we're taking damage from anywhere, so it needs to be public, otherwise the enemy state machine has no access to the hero state machine. And what we want to do is we want to pass in 1 parameter of type float, and this is going to be get damage amount. There we go. And this parameter again needs to be passed by the calculated damage of the enemy state machine. So what we want to do is with that last line, we just say enemy to the hero to attack dot get component hero state machine dot, and now we want to call the function take damage, and we want to pass in some parameter into that, and this is going to be of type float as we just created in here. So back into that, we create a temporary float, which is going to be, I don't know, calc damage, the calculated damage. And we now have the possibility to calculate any damage we want, any formula we want. And what I want to do is, since our base attack class, no, not base attack, our base class of all types of heroes and enemies currently have a current attack float, and this is what we take at the first one, because that class already have that information, or that enemy has that information. Gonna clear all of that. Ignore all of that information in here. Our first enemy, for example, has a current attack of 5. Our second enemy has a current attack of 8. So these are already saved informations. Well, not directly, but we have that informations of the current attack, so we use that to calculate this one. So we can just say enemy dot, and in here we have car attack. And now we can add something to our current attack we just have. And what we did is we just populated the battle state machine with the handle turn my attack, and we know when we are going to attack, this is going to be at the first point, or at the first where it is, here it is, at the first position of the perform list. So we go and basically take the informations back out of the perform list. We could also store that value we just used inside of the enemy state machine, but I don't want to do that right now. I'm not sure if this is performance heavy, but I don't care. Maybe we want to go and change this one later. So in the battle state machine, which is called BSM in my case, dot perform list, we want to take the item on the zeros position. This item is going to be of type handle turn, and it contains choose an attack as we just created, and choose an attack again with a point has an attack name, but we want to add attack damage. So what will happen right now is we add enemy's current attack, which is going to be of type number 8 or 5, depending on the enemy who is going to attack, and depending on the chosen attack by the enemy randomly in the choose action turn, which is here, will be just added to that when it's going to be on perform list 0, or just on perform list 0. So when this hero is going to attack, it's only doing the damage which is in perform list 0. And then we want to go over and pass that float of calc damage. Where is it? Typos. Calc damage into the hero states machine take damage function. Don't forget to save. And now we have the we pass in that parameter, that damage calculated, and pass this one in here. Now we can just do damage to our current hero. So it's going to be hero dot current HP minus equals the get damage amount, like this. What we also can do is we can check if we are dead already. So if again the same, hero dot car HP is going to be smaller or equal to 0, then we can set the state of that hero to any specific state, and in my case it's going to be the turn state dead. So we say current state equals turn state, no, not add to list, dead. There we go. So gonna save this one. So this hero is basically not anymore able to perform an attack. We will have some issues with that, but for now let's just leave this one alone. Don't forget to save everything, because we are going to end this video in just a second. So what we have right now is my heroes have, I just set them one to current HP to 10. Let's get back to the basic ones, just to show you that it's going to work. So now we have set all that information, or when we are going to start and the enemy is going to attack, we can see after the wait time is over that our that our enemy or hero, he should lose damage, lose HP, but it doesn't. Let's see why. Oh yeah, we didn't call do damage. In our enumerated time for action, we of course need to call the function do damage after the waiting time. So do damage is going to be called in here. Don't forget to save this once again. It's going to be in the enemy state machine, don't forget that. So back into Unity, gonna press play, and now we should lose, depending on who's going to get attacked. We should lose some damage, or HP. So as you can see right now, we only have 150 to 57 left. So the last attack has been an attack of 23. This can be calculated again, since this was enemy 2. He did the hammer swing attack with 15 damage, plus the damage he's basically doing, which is going to be 8. So 8 plus 15 is going to be, 23. And that's what Hero 2 just lost. And now we can do that back and forth. As you can see, again, he lost some damage in here, or some HP. And again, and now the other hero also lost some 20. And so on and so forth. So this is how we can do damage, but we will have some problems later on to fix. Well, that means if those heroes are going to be dead, we need to work on that. And also same for the dead enemies. We basically, what we can do is, when an enemy is going to be dead, we can just delete the game or destroy the game object and take it from the battle manager back. But for heroes, we also need to take care of the GUI, because we need to update the GUI depending on what the hero's state was. If the hero was currently attacking and just or is dying while he was selecting something, then we need to disable all the GUI elements, also the selector, and we need to somehow handle the enemies itself. So maybe we change the color to gray to see it a bit better, I don't know. Because as you can see, we are already we already have minus something. But as you can see, we are now dead, basically, or in the dead state. Those two enemies are not able to perform anything, as you can see, because they are both in the current state of dead, as we sent them in. But the round is not over, and also we were able to perform one more step, because that particular enemies have been still in the hero to manage or hero to perform list. And that's what we are going to carry in the next videos. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed something that. I hope you learned something. And yeah, we are one step closer to finish our project. So, don't forget to save everything. Also, don't forget to save the scene, of course. And yeah, if you have any questions about that and other stuff, I don't know, then feel free to write me a comment in the under the video, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and if you want to see more videos about that stuff or others in the future. So, and thumbs this video up, of course, if you like it. So, see you in the next tutorial part of that or any other one. Bye bye.